What's happening? It's your boy Yuse here with another segment of Yuse Libri. I just read the first chapter of this fundamental concepts of information modeling. I must say, was very impressed by the insights. I mean, I thought it was going to be a lot more overly technical. I find that just like any books that are somewhat related to IT tend to have just a lot of mathematical concepts introduced, sometimes very sporadically, and I found that this was very easy to follow, and it was like a decent blend of somewhat of the creative and also analytic mathematical sides of modeling business processes and concepts. And I almost feel like it's almost a very technical way to approach business planning strategy, because a lot of times I think, there's a very general way that we go into addressing a business plan, and that would be, the executive summary, and then, the financial component, and then the service component. We have various things, but I'd be interested in approaching the concept of business strategy through information modeling, which, to my understanding, in these early stages of reading this book, are somewhat of a blend of somewhat of the, the first stage was, I think it was like a model that I think would be a great reference. The first stage is the analysis phase. I'll show this little model here. I don't know how well you can see it. But first we have the analysis phase, where you're like really identifying, the object types and the different types of ways you can model, and the relationships, the object types, the operations. There was various things they mentioned, but essentially I remember the relationships and the object types being very important. It's like a relationship entity analysis, if you will. So in the analysis phase, you're just trying to discover and identify, and you're actually compiling this information into what's called a data dictionary. And you go by alphabetical order. You're just like collecting information. You're doing the most thorough policy research that you can, and you're just collecting information. You're just trying to discover, what are we trying to model, and what do we have that needs to be modeled? What are our real world situations at stake? And so beyond the analysis phase, we have the representation phase, where we actually specify the types of ways in which we're going to represent these models, represent these data types. So we're going to create, object types, and, whether it be, the client company, client, address, client phone, contract type. Like, there's just various ways to represent that data in a more tangible way. And outside of this, essentially this, initial information modeling process, we have the actual physical database design, and we also have the business system planning, which I think is really fascinating to just like really see the juxtaposition between physical database design and business system planning. I feel like we often separate the two, and a lot of times I would think that most of the people who do one or the other are somewhat separate. Of course, you have the CIOs of big corporations now who are bringing that informational insight, that IT insight that's very valuable, especially with technological companies. They're bringing that to the boardroom, and they're bringing that to the C-suite, and they're having conversations, and they're sharing their information with the other executives, because a lot of it definitely probably pertains to them in some way. But to see how that kind of goes hand in hand with the actual business system planning, which is like, I think, the side that I'm more familiar with. I've definitely been more interested in the strategic planning historically. So but seeing that the information modeling is almost a balance between the two, it really entices me, and it really fascinates me. It makes me want to learn more. It makes me want to read more of this book. I can't believe I bought this for $3.50 at Powell's. Like, Powell's is like one of the, I think it is the largest independent bookstore in the world, as far as they claim, at least. I do believe them. And sometimes their books are overpriced. I was just there today, and I didn't buy a single book, and I'm actually proud of that, because I have plenty of books. As some of you are aware, just the Library of Alexandria, we are copious in literature here. And so I was encouraged to just, save my money and like, let me explore the literature I already have. So I came home and I spread some books out, and this was the first one that I decided to read. And it was such a pleasant read. It really was. It definitely, it makes me curious to read more. And I just feel like it's critical for me, because right now I'm trying to really identify my business processes and how I'm going to, conduct my new, business arrangements. And so this is like almost a more technical way of conducting that business strategy and that business planning. And I don't know. I might need to keep this closer to me. This might not just be something I just tuck back away. I might have to actually read this thoroughly. And it seems like a fairly quick read. I'm on page 28 now. I started at page 7, which is, where chapter 1 begins. And it looks like it literally finishes within a matter of 109 pages. And there's a glossary at page 111. That's always a good sign. I love those kind of numbers. So I can get down with the glossary, maybe make some note cards. We got an index. You know, it seems like a very smooth read, written by Sir Matt Flavin. And it's a Yurden Press monograph. You don't often see monograph these days written on books. I kind of like that. And it's actually, I already looked at this. It's published in 1981. I should know that if I'm going to say I already read it, right? But I just want to confirm for sure because I want to say 88 or 81. And that was even more impressive in my opinion because to realize that cats had this level of business sophistication and articulation in early 1980s. It's not 1988. This is 1981. That's very impressive. Printed in the United States of America. Let's go. So, I don't know. It's definitely something I just want to continue to dabble in. So, if you're interested,